Hello. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install Jenkins in a Debian Ubuntu Linux distribution. First, let's go to the Jenkins documentation. Click on Linux. Notice the table of contents. We're going to use this as the installation progresses. Now, if you want to know how to launch instances, you can see my video on how to launch an EC2 instance. It's in the link showing on the top of the screen. So do well to watch that before you continue. This also applies to how to create a VPC, key pair, security group, and how to SSH into your instance. Please, I'd like you to check those videos before you proceed. Next, locate the distribution of Linux, in this case, Debian. Understand the prerequisites and the updates. You will notice that we need to install Java. For all other prerequisites, they will already be in your system, your local machine. In the notice section, you will see that we no longer need to use OpenJDK 11 for Debian 12 release distribution. Now we need to install Java. To install Java, go to the table of contents, click Installation of Java. Copy the first 3 lines of command. In your terminal, paste the commands and hit Enter. Once the installation is complete, you will notice the 3 lines of text we ignored in the documentation now showing as confirmation that Java is now installed. My name is Ufoma, by the way. If you think you've learned something as a beginner right now, I'd like you to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can get more updates when I upload new videos. Now, let's head back to the documentation. In the table of contents, click Debian. Under the long-term support release, copy the command to a text editor and include a -y in the last 2 commands. This allows an automatic approval of prompts during the installation process. Copy and paste in your terminal. Hit Enter. By the way, you can choose to use a weekly release. It will still work. Now, the installation is complete. This installation will effectively set up Jenkins to run as a daemon, create a Jenkins user that runs the Jenkins service, and set Jenkins to listen on port 8080. We will access Jenkins application with your instance public IP address and the port 8080. Also, be sure to open port 8080 in your security group. Next, as I mentioned earlier, Jenkins runs as a daemon, which means it is a service. We need to start Jenkins because it is not configured to start by default. Let's head back to the documentation. On the documentation, in the table of contents, click Start Jenkins. Copy the commands one after the other, paste in the terminal, and hit enter each time. If everything has been set up correctly, you should see an output like this. We are finally ready to access Jenkins from the browser. To do that, go back to the documentation and click Post Installation Setup Wizard in the table of contents. In the documentation, it is assumed that Jenkins was installed in your local machine. So instead of using localhost, we will use the public IP of our instance and then port 8080. On your browser, make sure it is entered in this format. Let us fetch the public IP address of our server. To get the public IP address of our server, let's head on to the AWS console. Select your server and right under the details section, copy the public IP address of the server. Head back to the browser, replace the public IP with the actual public IP that we just copied. Hit enter. And there you go. We have finally seen the Unlock Jenkins page. This means that we need to supply a password to unlock Jenkins. Go back to the documentation. In step 2 of this section, scroll down below the image and copy the command to reveal the password. Paste in your terminal. Copy the output, the password, and paste in your browser. Hit continue. This ends the lab, and at this point, you should be able to access Jenkins application. You should be able to access the Jenkins application to carry out the required configuration. Congratulations. I'll see you next time.